Welcome back to video 4 of Module 1, and in this video we're starting to take some action. This video is called Rapid Mobilization because I'm going to teach you how to rapidly start mobilizing the masses and getting people into action. So let's have a look at how we do that. I'm going to introduce you to a concept called the 3-step rapid mobilization. And let me first share with you why it's important to learn this concept. In this concept, you're going to learn how to share your business in just 2 minutes with a prospect so that you can literally start sharing your business with over 20 prospects each and every single hour. And it's really very important to do that because you want your whole process, how you're actually starting to share the business, and from the very first moment talking to a prospect to be super duplicatable. That means that if a prospect is listening to you and they have a glimpse of excitement or hope that their life could change with your business opportunity, they will have actually excitement to work with you because they will see how simple it was for you to share the business. See, one of the greatest challenges, one of the greatest obstacles for us to actually sign people up is the fact that we make the whole process of sharing the business too complicated and we try to become an expert at it. So the simpler we keep it, the better it is. And so in this 3-step rapid mobilization, you're going to really learn how to share your business really simply in a couple of minutes so that the prospects that you're actually talking to will feel how simple this business actually is. And subconsciously, their decision process will actually start from the moment you're talking to them. So if you're brand new in network marketing or you're an experienced leader, just watch and listen to what I'm about to teach you with a fresh ear, like you've never heard how to share your business before. And I believe this will give you a whole new insight into how to create massive duplication. So it is really important to understand that we're going to now be talking about the skill of actually prospecting and recruiting. And this is the core skill to create millions of dollars. It is, of course, the first skill that we must acquire before we even go into duplication. But it needs to be done in a way that anyone that you recruit could repeat it without a major learning curve tomorrow. And that's what we mean by saying it's going to be so simple somebody can repeat it tomorrow, right? Also, it's going to be a simple 3-step system where you can literally in a couple of minutes mobilize the masses, and therefore you can mobilize a lot of people. You can actually share your business with a lot of people very quickly. So let's have an overview of how this is. So this 3-step rapid mobilization is actually a phone call where you share the business with your prospect, direct them to a video or online presentation, and at the same time as you're sharing that with them, you're going to be setting up for a follow-up call where you're going to be following up to collect a decision. Now let's look at each of these 3 steps in more detail, and then we're actually going to go into the specific scripts that you can use and how you can start doing this today. So it's an essential building block of duplication. Please make sure the reason we're learning this is because I want you to start fresh. I want you to start doing things from scratch, so that from the first moment you're recruiting someone, they understand that this business is simple, and that's why you're going to be actually starting to create duplication. So let's have a look at now how you create the 3-step rapid mobilization. In step 1, like I said, this is going to be a phone call where you're going to be sharing your opportunity or dream with a prospect on the phone or in person, but certainly not via text message, via SMS, or some kind of email or any other communication. We have been doing this business for a long time and have experimented with absolutely everything. When I say everything, we've literally done everything. And we know that there are certain ways that work much better, specifically a phone call. Before step 1, I want to just say something really important that we're not going into depth now, but we'll be going in the future modules, is actually the relationship you have with a prospect before you go ahead and actually share the opportunity with them. So it's very important that before you actually call them up, you're going to establish a solid relationship with this person and actually know a little bit about their dream. This is why we are actually writing down here opportunity plus dream. We're going to be relating in the actual script that we use the business opportunity that you want to share with the dream that the prospect has. So this is a 2-minute phone call where you're going to be inviting your prospect to have a look at the details of the business opportunity, product, services that your company distributes, and so on, at a recorded online video presentation. Now, I said before in a previous video that this 7-figure duplication secrets course is actually designed to go hand in hand with our software application called Momentum Duplicator. And in the future videos, you're actually going to learn how you can use a replicated website that you create literally in a couple of minutes to be able to actually represent your step 2. See, the important thing about step 2 here is that you're outsourcing it. You're not spending an hour on the phone or in person or in a coffee shop actually going through the details of the compensation plan. You're outsourcing it. And because this is always absolutely exactly the same message, you can actually use a recorded video presentation, and we'll go more into the details of this in a second. And then the third step is going to be a follow-up phone call. It's really important to understand that you need to set up for this follow-up phone call before you hang up on the phone in the first step, in the first place. We're going to be talking about this exact script in a minute, but remember, the follow-up phone call is all about you collecting a decision from somebody who's just seen the presentation so that you can see whether they're interested to join for the business, the product, the services, or perhaps this is not the right time for them. The best way to follow up is actually on a 3-way call, but this is not a must. I've certainly found that 3-way calls are much more effective, and if you have an upline support leader that is helping you to build a business, I would certainly be working with them hand in hand to create better results. And on this follow-up call, we will also go through a specific follow-up script that you can learn as well. So now that you understand these 3 steps, let me explain to you why this is so duplicatable. You see, let's have a look at what you're really doing. You're calling someone up for 2 minutes. You're going to be using a specific script. You're going to be directing them to a website. And then from the website, you're going to be calling them again as soon as they've finished, right? That's it. So what did you really have to do? Call someone up, read the script, and tell them to go somewhere to watch a presentation. Is this hard? No, and that's exactly what we want to be accomplishing. We want to keep it so simple that the person you sponsor today can actually repeat this tomorrow. Everything we're doing in this course, we're teaching you the simplicity of duplication and how you need to work so that you're creating simplicity and duplication from day one when you're sharing your business, okay? So let's now look at the details of the super invite script, which is your step 1. This is a time where you pick up the phone for the first time after you've established a rapport, a relationship, a friendship. You got to know your prospect. And the key thing that you have to get to know is actually about their dreams, hopes, and pains, right? So let me give you an example. Let's say that, your friend Mary is sick and tired of going to a full-time job that she does not like, and she would much rather stay at home with her children and work from home. Well, guess what? You have got the perfect opportunity for her to do that, right? So instead of you calling Mary up and saying, Mary, I'm so excited, I got a business for you, it's so good, the product is great and it does this, you can lose weight, blah, blah. So you're vomiting all over the place. You're going to be using this very simple super invite script that actually gets Mary excited to take action and look at the presentation. Would you guys like to learn that? So let's have a look. This is what you're going to do. You're first going to identify what is Mary's dream, and you're going to say this. You're going to say, Mary, if I could show you a way to work from home so you can spend more time with your children, would you? And then insert what you want her to do, such as, would you watch a 20-minute video presentation about a specific business that I believe can help you to do that? So let's repeat that again. You're gonna create a very simple sentence and insert 2 things specific to your prospect. You see, in this whole script, I'm not telling them anything about the name of the company, the name of the product, what the product can do. I'm not talking about myself and my business. I'm talking about Mary and her dreams and what this business can do for her. Mary, if I can show you a way to work from home and spend more time with your children, would you watch a 20-minute video that can help you to look at a business that can help you to do that? So, of course, 80% of the prospects, after listening to this sentence, will say, absolutely, this is the solution to all my problems. This is what I really want. So most people say, sure, absolutely. Now, here comes the really important part that most of us forget. Rather than just giving them the link or sending them an email, you're going to ask them this. Mary, are you on your computer right now? And if Mary says, yes, I am, I'll say, Mary, great, go here right now, and I'll give her the link, the address of the website, and I'll make sure that she has found it okay. The number one reason people don't watch your presentations or look at your website is because they don't find it, they didn't write down the link, and so on. So better to get them in front of the computer right at a time. But here's the really important stuff. You need to actually get a confirmation, get a commitment from Mary that she's going to watch the video or the website. So what I will ask her is, when do you think you will watch a 20-minute video that I believe can help you to work from home and spend more time with your children, right? So again, I will put it into her language. Again, I will talk about her aspirations. I'll talk about what this business can do for her. When do you think you will have 20 minutes to watch the video that can, right? And Mary will answer, well, probably, let's say tonight, or I can do it right now, right? So she will give you a timeline. And when they do that, you need to get a commitment for another phone call. So you say something like, so Mary, if I called you on, if she says, I'll watch it tonight at 7. So if I called you at 7:30 tonight, would you have already watched the video? And Mary will say, yes, absolutely, great. So I'll be calling you today at 7:30, and by then you would have already had the time to watch this 20 minutes video that can actually help you to work from home and spend more time with your children. Is that right, Mary? So you see, throughout this super invite script, I'm getting a confirmation, I'm getting a commitment from Mary to go on that website. And even better, I'm trying to get her to do it right now by saying, are you on your computer? Do you have 20 minutes right now? Can you watch it right now? And I'll call you straight back. Okay? Really important to set up for a follow-up appointment. Do not get off the phone unless you have set up a follow-up appointment. Is that clear? Well, once you have done that, you're now ready for Mary to do it in her own time. And guess what? Even if she's doing it right now and the video is 20 minutes long, what are you going to be doing for the next 20 minutes? Well, definitely, if this has taken you 2 minutes of your time, don't you think you can make another few phone calls, maybe 5 or 10 phone calls in the meantime while Mary's actually watching the presentation in her own time? Absolutely. And that's why I'm saying everything that we're doing and teaching you here is going to be super duplicatable for your team and super easy. So even if you're part-time in your business right now, you can spend 1 hour per day doing these phone calls, but they're super targeted and effective, so you can really focus on the most income-producing activities. Now, step 2, of course, is the presentation. And people ask me, well, Masha, what website do I share? What video do I share? And I want you to understand that this needs to be a video presentation on your website. It needs to be a personal website where you can collect the prospect's name and email, their details, and then they can watch a specific presentation video on your company products, compensation plan, a whole overview. I recommend this video is no longer than 20 to 30 minutes, and I recommend that you use our momentum duplicator that certainly has one of the tools, which is actually creating your personal replicated page so you can share it with your prospects, collect their details, and so on and so on. So like I said, if you don't already have a free trial to Momentum Duplicator, go to momentumduplicator.com and get it right now. And really all you need to do there is you need to insert a video presentation into the website. It is as simple as 1, 2, 3, and you will see inside the application software, you will actually have the video teaching you how to. Like I said, you will be able to choose a video. So you can either take a video from your company or your upline support leader, and absolutely everyone already has a presentation they can use straight away. So don't go reinventing the wheel straight away. What is really important is, you're going to be really focused so that you can be calling as many people as possible. So right now, it'll be very, very important to set up your video presentation website. And so my key for you is go and get your free Momentum Duplicator tool, a 7-day trial, and start doing that right now. Now, step 3, of course, is going to be the follow-up phone call. And if you remember in step 1, we've already arranged for a follow-up phone call, right? And this is our follow-up phone call right now. So in this phone call, I'm going to teach you to use the Fortune follow-up script. And really, this is a very simple script that can either be used by yourself or on a 3-way phone call by your upline support leader. And this, why it is so much better to do a 3-way phone call is because when you're following up by yourself and you're answering all the questions to your prospect, sometimes it appears as though you're a great expert and you know everything. And that's not such a great thing for duplication. You really have to understand that the more you can actually point to a leader or point to a tool, the more the prospect will understand they don't need to know anything to actually sign somebody new up in their business, if they actually decide to join. So that's why I share always that it's very important that to try and do three-way phone calls, but certainly this follow-up script works on a phone call that you can do yourself as well. So here's a script. The first thing that you're going to do is say, "Hey Mary, how are you? Did you watch the video?" Now, if your prospect did not watch the video, say, "No problem. When do you think you'll have the chance to watch the video? It takes 20 minutes. When do you think you get the chance?" And again, establish a time and get a commitment for the prospect to watch it. Now, sometimes the prospects are really tough, and after you've called them 5 times, they still haven't watched it. And perhaps you need to then take a hint and understand that they're not so committed to transform their life and their future. So if you've called them a few times and set up for follow-up phone calls and always they committed to watching the videos, but they actually haven't done it, then you have to understand that perhaps they're not so serious. So at that point, I would ask them, "Well, Mary, if you mind me asking, I've actually called you a few times and you always promise to watch a video, and I understand you're busy, but I just want to understand one thing. Are you serious about changing your life? Or perhaps this is not something that is really very important to you right now?" So you'll be able to qualify the prospect. If they tell, "Yes, I'm serious and I really want to watch it, but I've just been busy," that's okay. You give them another chance, right? So if the person says, "Yes, I did watch the video," then the first question you're going to ask them on a follow-up phone call is, "Well, what did you like best so far from what you've seen," right? And then you really need to be quiet and listen, because it's really up to the prospect to tell you what they heard by listening and watching the video presentation. And some people will not actually understand the whole scope of the presentation in terms of the compensation plan and all of that. Some people didn't even watch the whole video and so on. So you need to let them talk, and you need to let them really share with them what was the most exciting thing, right? Once they have finished explaining that without you interrupting them, then you're going to ask the second question, which is, "Mary, do you have any questions about anything at all? Is there anything while you were listening to the video that was unclear? Can I explain anything a little bit more?" And Mary may have several of these questions, so you really need to answer every single question. When you finish answering one question, make sure you ask, "Do you have any more questions?" And that could take anywhere between 5 to 15 or even 30 minutes sometimes. And if you're on a 3-way phone call with an upline support leader, make sure you stay quiet during this period and just listen and learn, right? But make sure you answer all the questions and exhaust absolutely every doubt that the prospect has. When you've done that, now is the time for a closing question. And one of the best closing questions that I know is what we call the assume close. The assume close goes like this: "Well, Mary, great. If you have no more questions, when are you ready to get started?" Because if I've exhausted all your questions, I'm assuming, and that's why it's called the assume close, I'm assuming you're ready to get started. So this is what you ask Mary. "Mary, when do you want to get started?" And, at this point, some people will say, "Great, I'm ready, I'm excited." But most people will still, have some doubts, and they will come up with different objections, and they'll say, "You know what, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, I'm gonna have to ask my spouse." So it's really about you going through these objections one by one and not buying any excuses, because great leadership is all about not buying the prospect's excuses and actually leading them to make the best decision that will serve themselves and their family. So like I said, this is a very effective protocol for a 3-way phone call as well. And later, as you'll be helping your team on 3-way phone calls, you can use this as well. By the way, we have very specific guidelines further in the course how to do 3-way phone calls, so don't despair. Right now, just learn these 3 questions and learn to listen carefully and just guide your prospect through this follow-up phone call. The key to the follow-up phone call is for you to collect a decision. If you haven't been able to collect a firm decision, then all you have to do on the follow-up phone call, this is the one key, is to schedule for another follow-up phone call. Most of the time, you could do that on the phone or at a live presentation, either home meeting or a live presentation in your town, in your area. So make sure that if you don't have a firm decision for somebody to either join or not be interested right now, then you have set up for another follow-up phone call or meeting after this one. Clear? So step 3, fortune follow-up. follow the script and get a decision or another follow-up appointment. Great. So now that you know all these 3 steps, it is really important that you start to practice this. And this first module is really all about the 3-step rapid mobilization, and you're really practicing this. And don't be shy. We've all made a lot of mistakes to be able to learn what we know. So I think it's really the key of just going and throwing yourself and really starting to practice this. So right now, I'm going to go and give you a summary of this module, and I'm also going to give you some action steps. But before we do that, make sure you watch the next video where I'm going to be sharing with you some very important landmines you could land on if you don't do this correctly.